Hey everyone, welcome to The Progressive Vibe. I am your host, Dodrick. Today's date is January 16th, 2022. This is season 6, episode 2, and the title of this episode, Trading Profit Over the People. So in today's show, we will talk about a majority of voters throughout the country oppose lawmakers trading individual stocks and why it seems logical to ban lawmakers from doing so. We will share a piece from Axios that reads Momentum Bills to ban lawmakers from trading stocks. Before we get into today's show, I wanted to start off by saying, as I always do in my intros, thank you to the listeners of the show. You are the Progressive Vibe. You make the show. I want to thank the listeners for liking, sharing, and donating to the show. However you choose to show support to the show, it is greatly appreciated. As you know, by sharing the Progressive Vibe podcast on social media is the most effective way to get our message out, and it is all totally free. Also, if you would like more information about the podcast, and that is getting the latest episodes, that is keeping in touch with the Progressive Vibe, donating to the Progressive Vibe, you can do this all now on our website. The website to do this is theprogressivevibe.com. Again, that is theprogressivevibe.com. Also, the podcast has a Cash App. If you like to show the show some love by doing individual contributions to the show, the Cash App for the show is it is Dottie D92. That's DAHDEE 92. Also, the Progressive Vibe is on all platforms you can listen to and get your podcast. That is Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, etc. And last but not least, before we get into today's episode, guys, this podcast is sponsored by Anchor. Anchor is the most easiest way to make a podcast. So if you guys are thinking about making a podcast yourself, I would definitely recommend choosing Anchor because it is super easy and you can have fun while you're doing it also. Again, if you want to learn more about this, you can do this at anchor.fm.com to learn more to get started on that. On that note, guys, let's jump into today's main show. I'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, welcome to the main show. So let's get right into this article. I found this article very, very insightful to the episode today, and I wanted to share this with you guys. It's not too long, actually. As I said, this is a article by Axios, and it reads: Momentum bills to ban lawmakers from trading stocks. It goes on to say some progressive Democrats and MAGA Republicans are uniting on a proposal to ban sitting lawmakers from trading individual stocks. Although it's unlikely that leadership will bring the bill up for a vote, why it matters. Members of Congress have great power to move stock prices and great financial incentives to do so. Seems logical, right? It goes on to say one line in a bill in Congress can be worth millions and millions of dollars. This is from a former representative. His name is Brian Byrd, Democrat out of Oregon. told 60 Minutes in 2011. Byrd spent years advocating for the Stock Act, which prevented lawmakers from trading on inside information and increased financial disclosures. It became law in 2012 after being passed on a bipartisan basis, but later was watered down and is rarely enforced. Well, you don't say. It goes on to say, driving the news, Senator Jon Ossoff, Democrat out of Georgia, plans to introduce an ethics bill that would ban lawmakers, their spouses, and dependent children from trading individual stocks while in office, not just if they have inside information. Ossoff is in talks with potential Republican co sponsors, a Democrat told Axios, without confirming specific candidates. Senator Josh Hawley, Republican out of Missouri, on Tuesday tweeted his support for a trading ban, although it's not clear if he'd endorse including spouses and family members who are included in Ossoff's more stringent bill. Hawley's office didn't respond to a request for comment. Another one to watch is Senator John Hoeven, Republican out of North Dakota, the only Republican senator who has reported using a qualified blind trust for his personal investments. Over in the House, Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican out of California, is interested in legislation to limit or ban lawmakers from trading stocks if the GOP wins control of the House. I kind of find that unlikely, guys. But the reading continues. According to Punch Bowl News, one such bill already exists with more than 24 co sponsors. Meanwhile, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat out of California, whose husband, Paul Pelosi, recently bought millions of dollars worth of tech stocks, refused to support a ban on legislators' market activity. Quote, we're a free market economy, she told reporters last month. Lawmakers should be able to participate in that. Goes on to say, guys, Senate candidates from both parties have hopped on the bandwagon. Among them are Democrats Tom Nelson out of Wisconsin, John Fetterman out of Pennsylvania, both of whom this week endorsed Ossoff's proposal, and Republican Blake Masters out of Arizona. Quote, Democrats and Republicans equally take advantage of this, and it is wrong, Nelson tells Axios. They don't need to be trading like Gordon Gekko or Bud Fox. Just get mutual funds and CDs like the rest of us. How difficult can that be? End quote. The bottom line, the unusual coalition behind the most recent effort to stop lawmakers from trading stocks may not immediately translate into law, but it puts pressure on Congress to address one of Washington's most glaring and persistent financial conflicts. I will post this article alongside the podcast so you guys can check this out for yourselves. But what do you think? Do you think that people of Congress should be able to trade stocks since they uh, obviously get secret, confidential information before the public does that can potentially dictate how they vote upon legislation? Um, it's pretty corrupt stuff, to say the least, but it doesn't surprise me based on the system, the corporate rule system that's been in place forever. So it allows them to do this with any type of repercussion whatsoever. Um, but on the other side, we will furtherly break down what's going on here. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will have the second half of the show, guys. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey, guys, welcome back. So let's break down what we discussed um, in the previous segment. And, you know, my take on this is um, individual lawmakers should not be allowed to trade individual stocks. Obviously, in large part of having access to secret and early information that can inform their financial decisions. Now, this takes place all throughout Congress, whether you are a Republican politician or a Democratic politician. Corruption is on both sides of the aisle here. And what I want to do is share with you a national survey commissioned by Conservative Advocacy Group Convention of States Action. This survey, this national survey, found that, listen to this, guys, 76% of voters believe that lawmakers and their spouses have an unfair advantage in the stock market. 76%. But it goes on. It says just 5% of respondents approved of members being able to trade stock while in office, while just 19% gave no opinion. And again, that number is so telling because what it says is majority of the country, as they should, think that politicians who are in office, along with their spouse, shouldn't be allowed to trade stocks while in public office. If you're able to get insider information that might dictate how you trade stock or how you vote upon legislation, the American people have every right to oppose such a thing. But it continues. It goes on to say the Convention of States Action poll found that 70% of Democrats, 78% of Republicans, and nearly 80% of independents say members of Congress shouldn't be allowed to trade stocks. And what percent really sticks out to me in this poll is Republicans. Republicans are more aware that politicians shouldn't be allowed to partake in trading stocks while in office, more so than Democrats. And nearly 80% of independents think that it shouldn't be allowed. Obviously, the numbers higher on the independent side because majority of independents, such as myself, think that they are there are both lines of corruption on both sides of the aisle, whether you're a Democrat or Republican. But it's very, very astonishing to see that there is a higher percentile of Republicans that see Congress being able to trade for individual stocks is more absurd than what Democrats say. And I want the Democrats to know something here. You can't say one thing and then do the complete opposite. You can't have the right message and not even go by your own message. Now, we see this in the Biden administration, particularly with his own agenda, the Build Back Better agenda. Constantly, we hear the Democrats say the things that majority of Americans believe should happen, and they do not do anything about it. And I believe that it is a bigger disdain for this is just my personal perception here. It is a bigger disdain out there for Democrats than Republicans. Because I have to give Republicans their due here. I don't tend to agree with Republican policy, but what I will say is that they message behind their base and they fight for their base. Where on the Democratic side, you see a lot of inconsistencies due to them being able to talk about the things that should happen, but when it's time to vote upon that, they do not. And to me, being a regular, ordinary citizen out here in America, it's 10 times as worse is when you say all the right things and then you're just like the other side. You say all the right things on camera, but when it's time for you to vote on those things, you do not do them. Therefore, that's why I believe there's a greater disdain for Democrats than Republicans, even though the majority of the country, statistically speaking, are more in lockstep with the Democratic Party than the Republican Party. Now, are Democrats still going to potentially lose in the 2022 midterms? Yes. That doesn't mean that the Republicans or the Republican Party has the better policies, if any at all, honestly. But they're able to message to their base. They're able to fight, politically speaking, or in their case, some people within some people within the base of the Republican Party, you know, are willing to cause harm. But I'm speaking politically here. Politically speaking, the Republican Party has a better messaging campaign than the Democrats do. And the Republicans are able to act upon their agenda more so than the Democrats do. That's just a current fact until we see otherwise. And this could be a bipartisan agreement between the right and the left when it comes to the country overall opposing people in Congress being able to stock trade. Um, that's if you didn't have politicians on both sides being obviously financially incentivized to hold a different position other than the one that best benefits the majority of Americans. I mean, you had Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi talk to members of Congress, and she shared her point on why members of Congress should be allowed to trade stocks, saying, it's a free market and members of Congress should be allowed to participate in that free market. Well, I want to read you guys this quote from Political Baggage on Twitter. You should give them a follow, by the way, Political Baggage. We were having a conversation earlier about this same topic that we're conversating on now, and they made a great point in response to Speaker Nancy Pelosi's statement saying um, Pelosi's notion of Congress being able to have the equal right to trade stocks in the free market is completely absurd. As a politician, you are expected to seize any pursuit of increasing your capital. I mean, that's just obviously correct, right? It's not a free market when you have early insider information within that market. The entire point is you having access to secret and early information. In retrospect, it isn't a free market. It's not a free market when you're able to make decisions to benefit yourself financially. When you're choosing to pass or not pass certain pieces of legislation to benefit or not benefit certain industries throughout the country that could, in this case, personally benefit the politician is obviously a conflict of interest. Again, that should not be allowed to partake in Congress. And this system allows for this type of corruption. And if it allows for politicians to not only have secret information on stock trading and being able to participate in the trading stock process, why wouldn't they use the system to personally benefit themselves? It seems pretty clear. You know, remember, guys, I want everyone to remember when COVID was just taking off, when it was just hitting the scene in the United States. I want everyone to remember that all of this talk about politicians they were caught doing insider trading when the senators had information, the US senators had information about COVID that the public didn't have. Instead of the senators warning the public about the potential impact, about the health dangers due to COVID, they made millions of dollars in stock trades. That was actually a thing. And I'm going to leave it at this point. In my mind, that's not a free market. That's an unfair advantage. And it shouldn't be allowed in government, regardless of what party is in charge. But I'm curious to see what the audience think about this. Again, if you want to reach out to the show, send me an email. You can do this at theprogressivevibe.com. Again, that's theprogressivevibe.com. Because I'm very, very well, I was going to say I was shocked, but I'm not shocked. I mean, our system is designed to benefit special interests. That's not whatsoever designed to put the American people's interests first. It's designed to benefit corrupt politicians and their donors. And until we remove money out of politics, until we get money out of politics, sadly, I think this is going to be the continued trend. But again, I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. When we come back from break, we will have the social media break of the show. You don't want to miss that. We'll be right back, guys. Hey guys, welcome to the social media break of the show. J.R. Jackson on Twitter says, what if members of the Democratic Party that actually want to pass voting rights go on TV, travel the country, call out the mansions of the party as the corrupt politicians they are, as they should, and they still don't give a you know what? What's next? Sure, vote them out. But what about right now? He goes on to say, I mean, the money and loyalty to their corporate bosses is of utmost importance to them. They really don't care and really don't mind that everyone knows. And that's the thing. They're doing this stuff in broad daylight on both sides, whether you're a Democratic politician or a Republican politician. The system is designed for no type of repercussions on this obviously corrupt behavior that's going on within Congress. And I feel that a lot of people don't really care that politicians that have been elected to office has insider secret information about trading stocks that could potentially determine how they vote on legislation as pertaining to us, ordinary Americans. We can't do that. So why can politicians do that? They're human beings just like us. Bernie Sanders on Twitter say, we must utilize the Defense Production Act to produce and deliver high quality N95 masks to every person in this country. I mean, obviously Bernie Sanders is spot on, but this should have been a thing months and months and months and months and months ago. And, you know, Bernie Sanders isn't president, unfortunately. But President Biden had the power to do so, and maybe it will, but I mean, maybe he will, but it's just like, why do we have to continuously ask? Like, where was this months ago when it was obviously a problem then like it is now? I just don't understand that. Nina Turner says on Twitter, Senator Sinema voted to get rid of the filibuster to raise the debt ceiling last month. So true. But she can't vouch to end the filibuster when it comes to benefiting her own constituency in Arizona. Yeah, it's frustrating. Last but not least, Cori Bush says on Twitter, this was actually yesterday, happy heavenly 93rd birthday, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. In your name and in your legacy, we will not give up. And I think that speaks for itself. That does it for the social media break of the show. When we come back, we will be wrapping up today's podcast. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Hey guys, welcome back. That's going to wrap up today's show, Season 6, Episode 2 on The Progressive Vibe. I hope everyone enjoyed today's content. We will be back next Sunday with a brand new episode, Episode 3. Stay tuned for that. I also want to say thank you to the listeners of the show for making the Progressive Vibe podcast what it is. Without your listenership, without your participation within the show, it definitely wouldn't be the podcast that it is today. We're continually to grow the show thanks to the listeners So I just want to kind of reiterate what I said in the intro, which is thank you guys for liking, for sharing, for donating to the show. Again, you can get in touch with me through Twitter on or at Dottie_Vibe. That's DODIVIBE. Or you can check out the show's website. It has all our information on there. The latest episodes, donating, contacting the show, etc. And you can do that from the show's website, theprogressivevibe.com. I love you guys. Until next week, stay positive, stay progressive, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace, love.